When I used to live in New Jersey, that was from '84 to '93. It was so I lived out there. It was a 9-year sentence. Well, I mean, it was 9 years. And I'm a nice, polite kid from the Midwest here in Michigan, and then there's New Jersey, the armpit of the nation. So I have a lot of stories to tell about that, but I'll tell you one, and that is I really lived across the street from some kind of mafia guy. And I became convinced of this kind of after a year or two of living there. And, it just never really dawned on me that guy would have been like that. But then one day I realized, I think that guy's mafia, I'm pretty sure. So these people, they had a dog. And they left the dog tied up in the driveway. And then all these little kids that they had would play at the end of the driveway. So this dog would bark all day, as soon as those kids came home, whatever. That thing would bark for hours and hours and hours. I mean, it was really cruel to see this dog. I mean, they never played with it. They never touched it that I saw. And it just barked. It barked at night. It barked in the day. I mean, why do you have a dog? So I very politely, it was driving me absolutely out of my mind, as you can imagine. I mean, it was pointed right at my house. You couldn't hear, all you could hear was a dog barking all day and kids screaming their heads off. And so I was real polite, and I went over and I told his wife, I said, maybe you could bring that dog in, and I mean, maybe, the kids could play with it, something, it wouldn't be so loud. I would really appreciate it, I was very nice. I didn't tell her what to do or anything. So she was like, okay, all right, Well, about 2 days later, this guy shows up at my front door, and he starts threatening me. And he's not threatening me like, I'm going to kill you, I'm going to kill you. He's threatening me in the most dark, evil way you can imagine. I mean, he's like, you came over to my house, and you did, and it's an Italian guy. And it was, Lyndhurst, New Jersey, still used to be 100% Italian there, and then maybe, I don't know when, maybe 40s, 50s, 60s. And then it became, there was a lot of Polish there. And it was kind of, the neighborhood was changing a little bit. There was Koreans kind of moving in at the time, but this guy was Italian. And I was scared. I mean, this guy was really staring me down and looking at me and saying things. And I said, I tried to explain to this idiot, this guy's psychopath, that your dog is barking all day down. He didn't want to hear that. He didn't want to hear anything. He didn't want to hear, just keep your mouth shut about my dog. So, okay. So I kind of left, and I knew this was really, it was disturbing. And so there was another time, and I was out, we had a big snowstorm. And New Jersey gets a snowstorm. I mean, it's an event that'll come down. You'll be remembered. This event will be, remembered for months and years. They don't have snowstorms, and when they get a snowstorm, it's gone within a few days. I mean, it all melted away and everything, but it was huge, and you had to go out there and shovel the car. Well, again, the guy comes over here and starts really challenging me and saying, you're parking here and you're parking in the street in this other guy's spot. And so what I did that time was I just kind of played dumb and said, I'll come over and help you do your car. I'll help you dig out, And so he could see I wasn't going to be, I wasn't going to talk back to him, and I was trying to be nice or whatever. I just played dumb. I mean, this guy was scary. He was a big guy, not that tall, but just had this look. I mean, wow, black eyes. He looked right through you. And the reason I think he's a mafia, and I'm telling you, I'm 99% this guy was mafia, some kind of hitman. He really was, some kind of thug, some kind of ape for the mafia. He was, and I kind of figured out he didn't have a job. He would leave in the morning. He would leave at night. He would leave at any time. He would come home at any time. It was a real weird situation. And they didn't talk to the neighbors. Nobody knew anything about them. I used to live upstairs at 178 Fern Avenue in Lyndhurst, and I had the top 2 floors, and it was a really great deal. So this guy down below, Rudy Esposito and his wife, I asked him, I said, what do you know about that guy? And he looked at me and he said, that guy's mafia. And I said, really? And he goes, yeah. He goes, we all know this guy's mafia. And guess what? don't say anything. Don't say anything to anybody about it. Just keep your mouth shut, because you're not gonna you're not gonna go to the police and tell them all about this guy or anything, because you don't want to do that. So that's my story about the guy across the street when I lived in New Jersey who was a mafia, and yeah, he was a scary dude, and he scared me more than once. I learned to stay away from him and not to talk to him and not to go anywhere near the guy or anything. Gee, can you imagine why? You lived across the street from some mafia hitman. Yep.